Let me go ahead and get this out while it's on the brain. Why? Greetings, peace, 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 peace. I just trust you, bro. Let's give an honest source to the creator of making all this possible. Yeah, y'all bear with me. I'm just trying to set this phone up. That's all. Now, my previous video, y'all, the audio, I believe it had to happen with being that like I've dropped that phone so many times, so I believe like internally the speaker has messed up. So I just trust that y'all be able to hear me clearly. I don't know if it has something to do with like where I was positioned in the room, or simply because maybe because of like I say I've dropped this phone so many times to where it got water damage and all that. But I'm grateful I'm here, so I trust that on my previous video on this new channel that if you put on the subtitles, I'm sure it'll probably come out more better. But I just trust that this video and everything that is unfolding beautifully, that you know will get the message and have the patience and so forth. Again, with much gratitude, I appreciate you all. The previous video was more focused on you being a miracle. You are a miracle by simply being here. You are a miracle by getting through your circumstances, your life circumstances. You are a miracle simply because you are elected, anointed, or chosen to just do something completely different, pioneer something different. Um, Even getting through the hurdles, going through the emotions, going through things, you are a miracle. No one else is supposed to do it. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your sister, not your brother, nobody else. Nobody. It was supposed to be you. You are a miracle. I am a miracle. I know this from just life experience. Every time I see this scar on my head, I'm reminded from a life altering thing when I was young, when I was hit by a car um, and landing on my head, and then even being hit by someone when I was young, and then even still having like a cracked skull in a way to where again certain things I was not supposed to survive. I was not supposed to get through, but I'm here. I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle speaking to you all. So that being said, let's give our honor to Source, the Creator, the Most High, to making this possible. Whew. Let me get this out because it's very vital right now. For those of you that are new to this, I speak to the patriarchal, I speak to the matriarchal. If you're not aware of that, that is, you know, young men, sons, fathers, grandfathers, and so forth. And I speak from an individual perspective. I also speak from a perspective on a deeper level, emotionally, to speak into you the life, you know, for you to force you to see you, but speak life into something that, even if it's triggering, even if it's something that's uncomfortable, it brings more awareness to who you are so that you can get to know you better, so you can deepen a relationship with you and the creator, God, whatever you want to call your higher power within you. Someday we all gonna go. So the beauty of that is to learn that there are people out here that are not going to evolve. You have the opportunity to reach within yourself, find parts of yourself that you have neglected, abandoned, and so forth, and now begin to hold spaces for that very version so that you can confidently move forward as a generational curse breaker, as a cycle breaker, as you as an individual, outside of who people have subscribed to you to be or how you're supposed to be. You are limitless, you are beautiful, you are divine. Let me jump right into this. Let's give an honor to Source, to the Creator, our ancestors, you know, for all things, you know, leading up to this very moment. Other than that, the beauty of all of this is the confidence that even during these ever-changing moments, bro, how I've been sitting back because the awareness that I have and the experience is for me to really sit back as an observing more now and to really see how the generations that even came before me, how their world is crumbling, how the grace that I have to have for myself and them, how everything can seem so scripted when you're talking about generations of trauma, generations of the same behavior patterns, and then we're expected to basically get this script, read over the same thing, do the same thing as our mother and father or somebody would. That's not authentic. That's not being honest with ourselves. So let me jump into the patriarchal first, the sons, the fathers and grandfathers and so forth. When I do speak, it's more so holding the accountability, not just for myself, but speaking to the young men that will come after me, holding the men before me accountable as well. Um, and even with that, planting the seed, I still can't make them change. I still cannot make anyone see what I see. I cannot make anyone adjust, adapt, um, manipulate or do anything to make people believe in anything. What I am become more aware of is, as I've stated in previous video on my other channel. If you don't know, that is Mighty One. Is it? I think the at is Mighty 113 or Terrence Mighty One. And with that, again, I speak on things that regard the patriarchal, which, whether people want to accept it or not, the new leaders, the new order of things that is being restored is not only challenging but shattering the illusions of the generations that came before us. When I say the men, I'm also speaking about the patriarchal as you know it. Those of you that are in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Those of you that had cling and held tight to so much of whether it's religious beliefs or what basically this wounded patriarchal who has falsely this false empowerment. Not all men, those who have abused their power to manipulate not only the masses but the women, to make them even believe or persuade them even to believe the powers that used to be and so forth, so that they can feel like they have this upper hand or this superiority, which is far from the truth of what is being restored and what is being balanced. That being said, this is why you're seeing so much. I don't know why the word plagiarism coming up. I don't know why that's coming up. But when you see so much of what is being exposed in these current moments, the veil being lifted, those that are in tune spiritually know exactly what I'm speaking about. Where you're seeing the shadows of the very people who the world or the masses or everyone has reflected or even placed on these pedestals in these positions, who too have their own spiritual warfare, their own vices, their own shit going on just like anyone else. But now you're seeing your leaders or false leaders or people who have developed this identity around um, false empowerment by doing their best to devalue not only our mothers but the children, and also, you know, the masses or people, humanity, praising or even idolizing in a way the people who you know nothing about what they dabble in or are into, and yet you don't honor or respect the man who is mastering or choosing to master himself just as well as our women. Um, who Women who are your healers, or women who are living an authentic life, or want more so value the life that they're living and living in their sovereignty and authenticity. So you're seeing firsthand, and from even my experience of seeing certain men in certain positions, how not only just men but women, but I'm gonna speak on the patriarchal first, how misleading and how much they have been misled. And this is where the grace comes in, because a lot of them have intentionally, whether it's your pastors, preachers, bishops, I don't care who it is, whatever position that they're in politically and so forth, just globally, humanity, throughout humanity, you're seeing a mere reflection of a wounded masculinity. You're seeing what everyone who, whether they know it or not, has given their energy to. I show. So, for again, a lot of us are at a crossroad, and I've already expressed to people that you're gonna keep seeing more exposure when it comes to said false empowerment when it comes to the patriarchal. And even with that, the men, you're gonna see the women who, again, I've expressed to you all how spiritually, there is no men that have taken said authoritative positions, haven't had women who have orchestrated or had their hand in some type of coming into who they are, whether that's through unrighteousness or even righteousness. With that, we all individually have a choice to um, navigate our own emotions. Most of us, as young men, and what you're seeing now, I see a generation of, it's not so much lost souls. These are young men and young women who, a lot of these elders, which they have a very difficult time right now accepting, which I see how they hide it so well. Again, no matter their title, their world is crumbling, and through observation, I'm seeing, through observation, I'm noticing this pattern of so much of the pride and the wounded ego and the greed being at an all-time high, simply because these are the foundations for these very things. Then you will also realize, like, when we do point out or see what is happening with said people, no matter what industry, music industry, no matter NFL's career, no matter what status that they're in, there are women, there are beings, there are spiritual things at play that is behind the scenes of all of this. So again, now that divine justice is at play and order is being restored, I would advise or just share with people, like, how much, like, before we judge and just want to throw out there, like, automatically throw someone up under the bus, or just say, oh, this is, we look to these people, which is no surprise for me and a lot of us who are aware that this was going to be exposed when it comes to, no matter the levels of things, whether it's in your home, your community, no matter the status of people and so forth. There is more to come, simply because those who study astrology or whatever, the Pluto and Aquarius transit is also going to highlight the self-righteousness of the woundedness of Leo being opposite of Aquarius. So, like, it's literally going to highlight, from my perspective, what I've been picking up on. It's going to not only highlight the selfishness in people, but also reveal how self-righteous they are in whatever realm or demographic, community, whatever status they're in. It's going to highlight that. And by Aquarius, Leo opposite of Aquarius, Leo rules the heart. So what's in the heart is going to come either out the mouth or it's going to be displayed. So you will see that, I don't know what scripture that is, where it talks about how men hearts will be hardened during these moments. That's what I see unfolding, where as much as people want to hoard the truth of what it is, where they can actually take accountability, some of them are so prideful when it comes to, what they want to keep in and their ego and so forth, is that's going to be the very thing that's not only going to destroy them, but destroy what they built. So it's almost like the self-sabotaging aspect of what you see displayed in this wounded patriarchal. It's going to be for the world to see as a collective. There's no difference in me speaking about my own truth about what it is I grew up in, but going to the root of what caused it. And the beauty of that is that allowed me to clear my heart space. That allowed me to clear my mental, my emotional aspect of who I am, to show up better, not only for me, but to also walk in integrity for me and those around me, and not to feel ashamed and guilt. And so that's what a lot you will see play out in a lot of these systems, which again, whether corporations or whatever structures, they harbor a lot of shame and guilt, pride, ego, all things that are built upon keeping humanity, people, especially our youth, sons, in this loophole of believing that this artist, that this person could never do such things. You should look up to them. You should idolize their life. You should want to focus on, like, look what they have. Oh my gosh, this is the life you should have. This is who you should follow after when it really comes to a point of even not only knowing your worth and value as a man, but you should idolize this person who basically music doesn't encourage you to manage your impulsivity, but it preys on your woundings as a little boy. So then when you get of age and then when you grow, you'll realize how much you are affected and have been affected, and how the body keeps the score. I was like, cover him up. Okay, okay. So yeah, that was a partial interruption. So with that, again, the beauty of what I'm seeing from a whole different perspective is me sharing this to you as young men, as even men who there would be anger towards, there would be anger and uncomfortability and uncomfortable emotions even around men who, due to their different perspectives, because simply their generation that they grew up in. Like me being on the brink of 89, the crack epidemic, or certain things that I know my mother and father went through that they hid from us. So this is the generations of not only people that are darker in certain demographics, these are your certain community leaders, whether pastors and so forth, who strategically wanted to get an upper hand, or believe that, a lot of their positions that they, no matter where they at, no matter what status, no matter what nationality or color and creed, a lot of them position themselves only to come into this realization of how much they have literally been fucking fooled. I'm gonna just be honest with you. We all were fooled. And then once you recognize that only two fools argue with each other, or two fools, or once you realize how much you've been fooled, that you cannot be fooled anymore, this is where I see the youth being. The youth, it's not so much, when you hear like they're not learning, they're not no, they're not this and this, they're more aware, and I see it more than a lot of you do. They're just not taking the bullshit anymore. They're not subscribing to your narrative anymore. And this is what I'm speaking about, is a generation that are 40s, 50s, and 60s, those that don't want to accept that their world is no more. That when you see the transition of things going more digital, when you're seeing the world is changing rapidly with social media, how we have access to certain communications. You did not have that. You did not have that. You did not have that accessibility, or were accessible to those things at your, in your younger age. So for one, not only are these younger youth experiencing things differently, more rapidly, but you're asking of them to take on things with no type of fucking guidance, with no type of support. They're not seen. And then you can't just give them religion or give them something outside of themselves to believe that they are valuable just because of the material things, or just because of this religious figure, or just because of this peer pressure. So many things that the world is shifting collectively, and whether people want to accept this, whoever doesn't, it's getting to a point where it's evolve or be or unalive, and that means metaphorically, meaning speaking, like we all gonna go. So that being said, you're gonna have people hold on tight to their belief systems no matter how much. I've seen it. I've seen people leave this world holding on tight, and they literally left this world believing that a so-called character, a Jesus figure, will crack the sky, and they've already transitioned. This will ruffle a lot of people's feathers, but we're not in that world. I grew up in the church. I grew up in things where I wanted to believe, I wanted to accept this, and I questioned things. I questioned things because I already accepted and knew my mission, my path very young. I just start to recognize as I gradually got of a certain age that how much I was misguided, misled, how much I interpreted, you know, different Bibles or different books, because there's so many things out there differently than other people. I realized my approach in school was different than the other students. So you're giving me this narrative to buy into, to accept, and then expect the youth to learn exactly the same way as I do, or you know, it's utterly ridiculous, and it's also it's fucking stupid. It really is ignorant to expect millions of kids, especially who grew up in certain demographics, especially when you've been given, you know, they've been given their, you know, no matter what they go through in life, you know, their solution should be to go and to this religious figure. Everyone's life isn't like that. Or go this route of playing sports. We're, you know, given certain narratives where they're not even asked, well, what would you like to be? It's forced upon them. And the beauty of this is that my awareness now, and then having a son, is that the beauty of seeing him blossom into who he is supposed to be, and being able to experience, because a lot of us did not have people there who were supportive genuinely, emotionally, and so forth, to be able to enjoy our experience with joy, with admiration, with respect. And I'm speaking to the patriarchal, because men, I've told you before, rule by Mars: respect, admiration, and sex. So when you're talking about those three things, when you look at the demographics of certain things, when you see how darker men are used as an image to devalue them in so many ways, when you're seeing how they are used, are created, or this narrative is created for no sense of empowerment, for no sense of, again, self, respect for self. And then when you're talking about admiration and appreciation, there's nothing outside of certain figures that we're given. And even when those certain figures are public figure, people who have transitioned already for over 50, 60, 70 years, we're given their narrative as if, yeah, they were great at what they did, but at the same moment, there's automatically this negative connotation, or this horrible story, or like, yeah, they were great at what they did, from the Malcolms to this and this, and you hear the narrative of so much scarcity, so much fear, so much you know, villainizing, if that's a word, or you know, criticizing, and so much to even make them seem as if they're still not valuable. And so what that does, as a little boy, you still take that in, you still soak that in. You know, you're no more valuable than the certain athletes if you're not their height, their size, have their money, their status. That's bullshit. I always will remind myself for how much I've had to be restored, for how much I had to gain my self-respect, because I grew up around men and women who did not respect themselves. So now that I'm at this place, now I have this confidence. How dare I be confident in myself, in my artistry, in my speaking, in my writings, in just my life, and not take on the narrative of that I have to fear the world, that I have to fear police, that I have to even fear people who are not my shade, and to believe that they're more valuable than me because of their status, or even anyone in any social dynamic, or you know, even whatever that they do. That shit is done. That's the old world. Because a lot of what a lot of our elders were fighting for, and what they were doing, a lot of them feared the consequences. This generation is different. For a lot of them, a lot of these elders don't want to accept that your fucking ways are not working, and it's caught up with you all. This is why your churches are not the way they are no more. This is why the kids are not listening to you. Because deep down, the energy that you hold is not truth. It's not integrity. It's not honesty. It's not of admiration. It's not of respect. Y'all don't respect yourself. Some of you pastors and bishops and people that are in authority, y'all respect your position. Y'all respect, you know, certain things more than you even respect your own inner child, the little boy within you. So for one, you're not even gonna have respect for the kids. Huh. I see a lot of you. I would say it to your fucking face. I would say it to a lot of you. But I know how you operate. I know exactly why Malcolm and certain people were taken out specifically as a messenger, as people come. The egos of certain men in certain positions, they become targets. They become targets because of their energy, their presence, and how they shift the fucking atmosphere, the climate, the collective, the economic system. So a lot of them don't know what it is to be on the front line. No, they hide behind their career. They hide behind the identities, the false identities of the entities and lower. When you look at the word identity and the entities, the lower entities that are attached to their ass, spiritual warfare devices that they feel they can outrun until they have sons, and then their sons find out who they were when they want them to be a part of some said fraternities or certain things that they want them to be a part of, that truthfully is all going to be exposed, and you're seeing it be exposed as we speak, because that shit don't reflect integrity. It doesn't uphold the respect and admiration, and most importantly, don't educate those young men who are in those colleges and universities on sex, on the reproductive system, on how the value and see the beauty and the anatomy of not only human creation, but the beauty and anatomy of and autonomy of a woman, to see the value and where they come from. Even the schools, as I said before, the false empowerment of how through these generations, how these ego-driven men have used so much of their gurus or their try to use this hierarchy as if they're more superior. And when you look at things historically, when it how the matriarchal was upheld, it was for specific balance. And when you see the youth that don't have respect for themselves, let alone the women that they come through, let alone the women that they have children by, what the fuck have y'all done? What have you done? You're telling me, and this is logically, practically, before you try to give me a figure that is of a man, I need a balance between supporting and helping me to learn, supporting me to learn my emotional intelligence. That can only come from a fucking woman. That emotional resonance as a little boy can only come from that of a woman. I'm not saying men don't have emotions, but that's why the mother is the first teacher. This is the confusion that has been at play. This is what's being restored unapologetically. This is what is coming into play. How can even men out here in these said positions parade themselves, which they're knowing at their own detriment, deciding that they're deciding their own fate, because they sure as fuck is not walking in their destiny. Because every time they go home, for a lot of them, they're miserable. They have to pray or serve whatever it is that y'all don't see spiritually. Keep feeding these spirits or certain things, unforeseen forces that y'all don't realize, principalities and so forth. All this shit has ran their course. And so now, the bigger picture of it all is, again, the disposition and how our mothers have been in a position to be more masculine has literally driven a lot of these men in their status to be what? Very hyper feminine, hypersensitive. And so this is where I come in to where I have to know what I'm dealing with when it comes to the importance of the fucking youth. Because a lot of you elders, whoever you call yourself, I'll say y'all old, because honestly, you either got people who are growing wiser or who are growing old. And that's what you're seeing the shit that people have sown, the energy that they put out, are you gonna see people age? Are you gonna see, because that's the things that they haven't faced, and it's destroying them from the inside out. A lot of people don't know, as you age, it's almost like your youth don't leave you if you honor the youth and the innocence within yourself. How do you do that? When you honor the inner child, you see the importance of the child or the children. So all these isms and schisms and the shit that's falling apart in this old world narrative, I'm right there front and center, because a lot of y'all men don't even know. Some of you do, but some of you unconsciously don't even realize that the concept around the wounded patriarchal, or even the patriarchal in itself, when you remove the mother, when you remove that which is feminine, the principles that we all have, men and women, you also remove the innocence. You remove the emotions. You remove the nurturing, the self-care, the very things like that. That when you look at things religiously, when you look at other things in structure, it keeps you so far away from self-care, self-love, self-esteem, self-improvement. Certain things that, again, to go back within self to see what's going on with me. That's what you're seeing crumble. And so we already at that tail end where the tail is becoming the head now. Those who were at the head of things and giving off these illusions, they're slow. Like, it's not even slow, it's rapid. It's happening like this. And they can do nothing about it. But again, through this, Pluto and Aquarius continue to show who they've always been and how they became. And they will continue to show your shadows. Like I said, if you pay attention to the leaders or certain people in place who perceive themselves to be higher than the higher power itself, they will, it ain't even, I don't even like the word humble or humble. They will be broken down. It's just like a child. They will be disciplined in the spirit. And you will see it show outwardly, physically. Y'all don't realize that there is spiritual discipline. Judgment is spiritual as well as it is physical. Just because you don't see things happen in the physical right away doesn't mean there isn't something higher at play. There's no one that is exempt from what is happening. So everyone is held accountable. I don't care who they are. I've said before, with certain leaders or certain people in place, they had their opportunities. So when they did not take heed to the message, whether it was through someone, myself, or someone else, everyone has an opportunity to change, to evolve. I don't mean change your clothes. I don't mean change. I mean to evolve. Meaning that the old version of you, metaphorically, spiritually, has to go away. So therefore, you're not even going to look the same. You're not going to dress the same. You're not even going, the same people won't even be around you. So pay attention to those who throughout these years, the same people have been around them. Or the same thing has been happening around them, and they didn't want to take heed to the message and to the lesson. So no, I don't have sympathy. I really, the empathy comes into where I was like, wow, they had an opportunity just like I had. Just like a child, a baby that grows up and keeps walking and keeps hitting his head on the table, and eventually he has to realize, or he keep falling where he's trying to learn how to walk. You know what? Even a child knows as its innocence that, you know what? Maybe if I had to walk around this table, I won't hit my head no more. Or maybe when I'm trying to learn how to walk, maybe I need to use this this thing to support me. You know, it's that is a ever that we don't that doesn't ever change. I mean, that doesn't ever go away. We're just, our bodies change, they age, but the innocence of the discipline, the balance between feminine and masculine doesn't ever go away. I'm still learning. And why so? Because I had to unlearn the things that were keeping me in a place where, how could I grow? How could I expand past what I'm learning? So when you look at what has been happening, if you keep giving, it's almost like you're feeding a generation poison. If you keep giving people the same doses of shit, and expecting a different result, that is insanity. And some people will hold on to that insanity, and you will see it in their well-being. You will see it displayed in their behavior. You will see it almost projected onto everything and everyone, and no accountability. Y'all don't want to hold these people accountable. I will. I will. I will let them know, look, your way has not worked. Your all these problems and all these problems, you want to keep giving people the same thing, like as if it hasn't changed nothing. I see people in certain authority. Some of us are being led into certain situations or circumstances where we're supposed to be there to rest, to observe, to learn, and to move on. And you see what society has, like, really, like, the powers that used to be, the powers that ain't. Let me tell y'all the biggest thing that a lot of us has got fooled by. Oh my God, it's so funny because I laughed out because I was like a child, like, oh, I should have saw that, but now I know. Yo, listen, it's basically like this. You have the divine mother, divine father, right? That's restoring things. Okay, so the opposite of the divine mother and father is what? The false mother and the false father. So the false mother and false father has to be who? Who exactly? I want y'all to ponder on that. Not only did we carry that, because again, through my experience of learning certain things where I was not conscious of these things, I was not aware how they would take a toll on my life, how they would affect my life. I can say I implemented, or the imprint on my life with, you know with the abuse, with the verbal and emotional things and so forth. That's holding in my body a fault, not only a false identity, but a false sense of what a father, the energy of a man, the energy of, respect, admiration, you know, the false illusion of even what sex and creation is. That's what this has been. There's your code. That's what this has been, and it's the same thing for women. Um, when you look at Venus, what they're ruled by, attention, pleasure, and what was the other one? Attention, pleasure, and honesty. Most women don't even realize the false concept through these corporations, um, and who they've learned. When you see all these women on social media, y'all too, I'm getting to the matriarchal now. Look at what your daughter's looking at. Women, I don't care who you put in front of me, celebrities, I don't care. I can read the energy up and down. I don't even have to try. Because of what they portray, I don't care what they have. I don't care what status they own. I don't care how much money they have. When it comes to the Most High and the judgment and what is happening at play, a lot of the people that you think represent this mother-like energy is a false mother. And what I mean by that is that everyone holds a mother-father energy. And that's not just feminine and masculine. I mean in the sense of energetically holding, a woman can have a mother energy simply because she possesses eggs at a very young age. So spiritually, she already holds the energy of her lineage. So she holds a mother energy. Okay, how did she get here? From her father. So when they came together, the oneness of that, she holds both masculine and feminine energies. So what people do with that, and what you've seen play out on the world stage, is an example of how all of you have been bamboozled to believe that what you have idolized in so-called celebrities, politics, whomever it is, even some of you that grew up in certain demographics, that the dysfunction and so forth and all that, again, you have been fed a false narrative of what a mother should be. And then you let your daughters, when you don't have guidance, see these women who parade themselves on social media. I mean, hide nothing. It's to the point where they don't even hide nothing no more. And then you see the platforms that not only don't hide anything, it's almost like that's the balance of the energies of seeing what was corrupted, what has also been force fed to our kids young, and that's a part of the powers that ain't, that wanted to consume you to believe that that's all there is, what it isn't, because the light is obviously here. And so that being said, it's the same thing with men. When you look at your artists, when you look at the culture, when you look at the fucking music, the importance of how that plays on them, their bodies, keeps the memory, their bodies is subconsciously, it keeps it, it stores it. Most importantly, preys on their wounding. So again, it's the same thing with the women. If y'all are ruled by Venus and you're talking about, number one, honesty, attention, and pleasure. When you, I'm gonna go in reverse. When you look at pleasure, for one, look at the women who represent pleasure on a certain world stage or status. Look at pleasure. And when you think of pleasure, I'm not the false interpretation of pleasure. First and foremost, even how sex is paraded or even how women should devalue themselves, that's the misconception of pleasure. When you learn the etymology or even just what pleasure actually means, you will see how you fooled yourself, even giving up your body, giving up yourself, giving, and then allowing your daughters to do the same thing. Again, this is just accountability so that it starts within you, so you can have grace with you, so now that you can face these things, so that you don't have to feel shame and guilt. It's okay for it to come up. It's okay for those emotions to come up, because it starts with you. It don't start with nobody else. It don't start with that religious figure. It don't start with this person over here. It don't start with your mama. It starts with you. That's what makes you the miracle, for you to acknowledge that and change it and see it. Because your daughters are going to see your ass paraded and so forth. So look at the women that you have been looking up to. Yeah, I know the 80s and 90s, not all of them was the same, but the 90s, I'm telling you, that's when certain stuff start really coming in, certain people. And some of them artists don't even want their daughters listen to their music. They don't even want them seeing parading themselves. Guess what? They can't outrun their energy. They're not exempt. So again, attention. Look at where the attention has gone. When you look at, I got stuff coming up too, relationships. Look at the women who speak on relationships. Look at the women in music telling you to be single or telling you to be this when they're married. You don't think that's orchestrated? Look at the women who want you to buy their stuff and get this and get that, to put your attention and your energy on them rather than yourself. Rather than yourself. Because at the end of the day, you don't know shit about their lives. You don't know nothing about that woman. You don't know what she does. How do you know more about this person's life and this lifestyle than your own self and your own kids? Gosh, Lee. I'm not judging you, baby. I just want to hold you accountable. I love you. I want you to see the things you're not able to see right now, or be aware of. It's okay. I love you. I appreciate you. I see you. I see the little girl. So again, what's the other one? Honesty. Whew, that's the biggest one. For one, not only are you dealing with being honest with yourself, and you develop this false identity around what it is to even be a woman, what it is to even have, you know, you're not even being honest with the inner child, the little girl within you, let alone you have created foundations, or foundations were built early in age from your mother and grandmother that was not built on honesty. So I don't even blame you. It's not even your fault that you went out there and had relationships that you built with people that wasn't built upon honesty. Shit, sis. Mama and grandma was manipulating people. You know, they were manipulated by society. They were manipulated into believing that if they don't be themselves, then they won't be valuable. So look at you. Look at your daughters. Look at how they dress. Look how they cover up everything. Because truthfully, bought into a narrative to be everything but you, naturally, organically, authentically. So then, when you're not doing that, then you can't even be, when you don't be yourself, how can your sons even see that what he should attract, not even attract, but what he should value in a woman? And so you're expecting him even to bring home a woman, of course, that's probably most likely not going to be anything like you. And I don't mean just externally, but even reflect anything like you, because he's literally has grown resentment because you have abandoned yourself. So that led him to abandon himself. And so what he'll do in relationships, you'll see the young men just get with women over the false value of what sex represents, which you're seeing the woundedness reflect back from the Mars perspective of men and the Venus perspective of women. That's all you're seeing. You're seeing that play, the false identity that we all have built around what we are so simply created to be. Again, Mars, men. Sex, admiration, and respect. So if everything begins matriarchally, when you talk about women who, again, if they don't respect themselves, then they don't value sex because they won't see themselves sacred. If they don't respect themselves, how could they speak life into men? That's admiration, speaking life into your sons. No, they're verbally abused. Again, boom. Then when you talk about the sex part, yeah, I already said that. When women don't respect themselves and see themselves sacred, that's what. Your sons are not going to have knowledge of this. That's why you see them go out there and create multiple babies and leave them to you and leave them to grandma and so forth. Just being real. So then, what was the first thing? Respect, admiration. Yeah, so I've already said that. So even when it comes to the women, you're talking about attention. Then you're talking about, this is going to be huge. You're talking about attention. Then you're talking about, so flip side on that, men are not going to give the attention healthily because they never seen it, for one. They never seen it from their mothers. They never seen it grandma, speak life into men. Because again, if the man wasn't there, who's she going to speak to? Because she had to protect everybody. She had to be the man in a way. So then you're talking about, okay, so women is with the attention, the pleasures, and honesty. So you're expecting men to be honest when they never seen men be honest with women. When they never seen their mama be honest with men. So we're asking of shit that we even never given ourselves. So when women say they want honesty, you don't even build honesty with yourself, baby. You haven't even been honest with the wounds within yourself, your childhood traumas. You haven't even, how you gonna be honest to that man if you haven't been honest with your father wounds? How he gonna be honest with you if he haven't been honest with his mother wounds? Especially even seeing women being honest with their own wounds. This is your society. This is what we have created. So when you talk about attention, his attention ain't gonna be, if women deserve Venus attention, right? Men, because of the misconception of what a man or a boy is supposed to be, his attention is more geared towards not only himself, but geared towards so much of money, external things, material things, the false perception of success, geared towards, his attention is geared towards ego and all his wounded ego, which is, rooted in just, how much money he has. And y'all don't realize, y'all as women are enabling this. So for you to say, well, why he don't pay attention to me? Why is his attention is elsewhere? Because baby, it's love. He never saw a woman display how she should even put her attention towards something herself and something healthy. Where's our women and our young women attention has been going? Y'all more focused on your bodies. So then when the pleasure comes into play, which y'all rule by, your false perception of pleasure as women is more geared towards fulfilling his desires with sex, which creates an imbalance because you don't see yourself sacred. You don't see the value in who you are. So you're giving this perception off as a whore, or almost like a Jezebel or concubine, whatever you want to call it, because your ancestors or your mama and these people have been carrying this energy, and you don't even realize you're living it out. You're living it out. So now you don't got the house. You're a housewife, or you're a mom, you're a baby mama. You're all, I'm talking to all women, and it's not putting them all, categorizing all of them. It's just what I've seen. And so what you have done is that you took it on these titles. You took it on the identity as a baby mama. You don't have to be a baby mama. You don't even have to subscribe to that shit. You took it on this narrative of even developing this false identity in your marriage as a wife, but never building a healthy union with yourself. Never coming home to you. When's the last time you came home to you as women? Came home and held space with a little girl before you got into that marriage, before you signed that contract. Not just physically, but spiritually. Before you lay down with that man and signed that contract. In the heavens. In the ethers. Now here in the physical realm. Because shit is spiritual. Yeah, that's how deep it goes. So again, we're mirroring back in certain relationships, what you want to call it, karmic, whatever it is. We all have been mirroring back the shit that has been so rooted in what? The false perception of what a mother and father, or what the innocence is, the essence of who we really are. Not as individuals, but as humanity. So I'm not blaming y'all. I'm not, I don't want you to feel guilty or shame. Whatever comes up, allow it. Because it's not your fault. Some of you had mothers and fathers, and some of you had both mothers and fathers. Some of you had a balanced home. But there's still things that you didn't even realize that was still important, which is emotional security, which is you know, having an identity outside of wanting to be everything that your mother and father been. Some of you that goals are just marriage. That's why I see a lot of women now, their goals is marriage, because they don't even know how to be with themselves first. That's why one of my other previous videos, I was like, a lot of us need to know how to be with ourselves first. And the thing is, what you're going to see happen, I need to say this, is that don't feel guilty and shame that you have created children outside of what you did not know. And I'm speaking from experience as a man that will acknowledge this. For one, if I could change things, I would. But at the same time, would I do things differently? Yes. Because of the awareness I have now. But when I look at the fact of who I came through as, you know, the mother and the father, I have to realize accepting that is the beauty of allowing. I wouldn't be here sharing this message with y'all. We shouldn't ever feel guilty or ashamed by who we have children by, because again, the reason I say that, because I know that can be tough for some who has went through things with people. What I'm saying, it opens a door to where you can get to know you better, so that you can make better decisions, not only for you, but so it has a ripple effect on your children after you. Because the beauty of this is that by our mothers and fathers not knowing certain things, this is where grace comes in for ourselves. This is where the grace has to come in, because you still have an opportunity to pioneer something. A lot of you will be doing things completely different. A lot of you were assigned to actually have kids by that person, so that you can see this video, maybe months and years from now, so that you can have this awareness to make a set decision to step out in faith, to step out. And when I say step out, also to step in within yourself. Some of you actually were supposed to align with that person so that you can trigger and bring up something uncomfortable, something that you're here to do differently in your lineage, so that you can move forward with fucking peace, so that you can be restored with the power that the women in your family did not have the strength to leave. The women in your family did not have the courage to step out and create a community that actually values the very things when it comes to a healthy, where your attention goes, honesty, to actually build upon communities and create things with honesty, with you know, attention, you know, in a healthy way, where that goes and flows, where what was the last one? Pleasure. A lot of you, again, you've been thinking and trying to figure out, like, why did I go through this? And it's okay to ask some questions, because now here's your answer. But the answer is just a part of it. The solution is will you have the courage when you do step out is not to forget about what it is you're creating and building, and then aligning with that, because that's one of the most challenging things from it all. Again, speaking from experience, knowing what I had, what I represented unconsciously, till I became aware, like, oh my gosh, I have the opportunity every day to represent what, again, the world has never seen, which is a divine masculine. And through that, I had to recognize the wounded masculine, the wounded patriarchal and the wounded matriarchal. So I had to see both wounded matriarchal and patriarchal to recognize the abandonment wounds, to where I would no longer abandon myself, to where it don't gotta make sense to no man, no woman out here, that I choose to rest, that I choose not to go out there and work myself, to where my body, my being, my well-being is not prioritized first. So what? They don't have to get it. It's not their vision. It's not their purpose. But the beauty of it is that, again, encouraging the young men, encouraging even men, those who will receive this message, and women, rest. Rest. Let this shit crumble. As much as y'all want to hold on to certain stuff, it is crumbling. And as it crumbles, there are those who will come and rebuild it, and rebuild it in a new way, in a more authentic, integrative, that's a word, and in an honest way, around things that not only values our children, but values the women and men, that put women in position, men and women in position, that upholds the very thing that reflects healthy things when it's ruled by Venus, meaning it's things that are healthy, holistic, when it comes to the attention, where our daughters' attention goes to when they grow into womanhood, sisterhood, things that are valuable, of substance, that value their body and their mind, that will align with partners who reflect those very things, that respects them and then respect their partner. Things that they mirror back to their partners. Again, what we have been mirroring back, the reflection we have seen that has been playing out energetically, collectively, is shit that's unresolved memories, unresolved emotions, the passive aggressiveness throughout the country, the atmosphere of these things, so many things that, again, that cannot be ignored. And again, no matter your nationality, your color and creed, a lot of our grandmothers, especially darker, had to be passive aggressive, just because, for the protection of themselves, to protect the family. Then you create an environment where women that are lighter shade, who were taught to be passive aggressive against the problems and of what they know has been going on. So guess what? They're teaching their sons, whether lighter shade, to not even value people that are darker, especially the women. So this is what you see in certain authoritative positions, where you're asking of them to give a solution to people that are darker, when their upbringing has not even been built upon even finding solutions or even problem solving for darker people. Come on now. And then you're asking people that are darker shades to to get solutions from people who have never experienced what they've experienced, who have been in positions to keep them oppressed, to keep them in a position where they're always handout, never trying to learn to be self-sufficient, never try to learn nothing about self. So when you're talking about a society and a structure that literally is keeping people that particularly of darker shade looping, independent, codependent on certain systems and people, and you have the women that are lighter, who are bringing up, certain women in, people like to use the term white supremacies or whatever, this term where you have, or people in their communities that are built specifically to raise their children up, not only to be passive aggressive, um, not only within their homes, but passive aggressive towards people that are darker. So when they're met with people that are angry and so forth, this is where you see the fear comes in with a lot of those girls or women that grow up that have never interacted with people that are darker, So you got to realize is all this division is only bringing up the unhealthy part of what division has caused. Only for y'all to unify within yourself first and within each other. That's it. How the fuck else you gonna learn how to live amongst each other? There's a lot of stuff that y'all don't even know how to live amongst each other with. If you sit kids down, kids, they had to learn these very things, terms, colors, divisions, and all this shit about what has divided them amongst this day, which is y'all adults. Y'all still are those same kids. If you don't sit, it's just like if you sit these little kids down present day now, they're not going to have the same belief systems that you have. I'm talking about toddlers. Then you sit them down, you go in places, they're not arguing about stupid ass shit about politics or, you know, this celebrity and their relationship, how much money and this and stuff and that. There's your solution. There's your solution right there. There's your solution. A lot of y'all minds and a lot of your chakras, a lot of things that you are have blocked off so much due to your own self-righteousness and your own career goals and all this other stuff that has kept you away from source, because a lot of you don't have the connection to a higher power. You have connection to lower shit, and it's literally being displayed in your everyday actions, which we all have went through. But at the same moment, again, a lot of you have abused said power, and now it's been stripped from your leaders, even in the ones that you don't see, who have the darker ones that you don't see, who have played a hand. And again, your countries will won't people. How you shocked that certain things aren't? There is a progression, but for those who don't know, there is. They would see it as a regression, or what they call it, recession or some shit. And I'm like, no, these are typically the people that, again, who had experienced that and believe that we're still living in that. No, these are the people, again, that's going to hold tight to their religion. These are the people that are spazzing out right now. These are the people that are so confused and shocked because they never had a chance to sit down. Listen to me. The people that are 40, 50, 60s, and 70s, they never had the opportunity to sit with their shit. They've been going. I'm seeing it play out when I sit back and rest and I honor my self-care journey, my self-love journey, and certain things. And I see people 40, 50, 60. It's like chickens with their head, like the term chicken with their head cut off, just running around. And they don't know nothing else but to do that. And that's where the grace comes in, because their parents taught them that. The ones before them, they taught them that. So with that, it's like they want to convince us still that what we're building and creating is supposed to be the same, and they don't realize that their script is up. The world is a stage. Their script is up. There's a new characters. There are new things that are coming into play, whether people like it or not. This is divine order. There's nothing people can do about it. And no, this time around, nobody. All the things happen behind the scenes. Let me just make this very fucking clear. There's nothing whoever looking at this, you behind the scenes that think that you can orchestrate something, that think that you're going to intervene in anything to disrupt the divine order of things, not this lifetime or after. Because divine intervention is at play, and this is all divine intervention. There will be no more assassinations with people that are here to uphold divine order. There will be no more unaliving for no appointed reason. Y'all don't realize we're moving away from, this is what this generation, a lot of these youth are here, their energy, their frequency are here to do. They're moving away from what a lot of you elders intentionally and unintentionally have been upholding, which is your division, which is your fucking racism, your self-hatred for you and yourself. Your communities will suffer at the hands of the energy you put out. Your kids will figure you out. There are people, if y'all don't realize, there are people in position, no matter where, status, levels, The higher ups, there are people divinely orchestrated in certain positions that sit back and observe, and they play their hand very well. They know exactly what's going on. I don't care if, listen, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's the beauty of, again, it's done. And I'm here to clap it up and accept it. This will ruffle some people's feathers when they cannot accept. Y'all, the only people that this will bother is the people that have a belief system that is not their own. They haven't developed a belief systems outside of their mother, father, governments, and so forth, that upholds truly authenticity and integrity and love and honesty and truth. That's the only people. The inside, it will bother them to the core, and that's okay. This is why, again, young men, and as a darker man, the awareness of how you have to move strategically, because there are men who, due to their greed and their pride, what you have seen prior, that are willing to harm people because that's how much they love this fucking world. It ain't even love, it's how much they're so greedy for power. And it's the same thing with women. Women, I'm gonna tell you too, there are women as well in the spiritual community as well. There are women in a lot of places that are harvesting and no more, or they were positioned just to harvest off of your energy in those retreats, in the first ladies, in whatever constructs or thing. I don't care if they're first lady in somewhere. Listen, them two are behind those same pastors and so forth, who again, who also are right beside their wounded ego, who also ain't encouraging him to see his mother wounds. They still encouraging him to try to seek out a so-called religious figure, which people know the depths of how a lot of that shit was used to orchestrate to keep people. Now we're over, and the spell that's been diminished was at a time to keep people under. Ain't nobody under shit. This is why you're gonna see it all crumble apart. You're gonna see their marriages. You're gonna see so many things be dismantled, because the deeper aspect of all of that is that you can only uphold a lie for so long. After you tell one, you're gonna have to tell another. In the world, as you know, I don't have to keep telling people. Well-being is at play right now, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And when I look at certain figures that are in place, they are not encouraging the well-being. And if they are, there are certain people who are just trying to profit it off the well-being. Be very discerning. Ask for the spirit of discernment if you're not aware of it. Call on the spirit of discernment. And don't be surprised who you see and what is being revealed. Because all women, y'all have intuition. You're just being so far from it. And when you come home to it, don't be shocked. Be encouraged to go get yourself together. And there will be people who will align with that will, because again, y'all don't realize how many people behind the scenes, I don't care what status that they are, who have preyed on y'all woundings, who have preyed on y'all to stay in certain religious constructs, to stay inside of certain corporations, to stay inside of certain things, to keep you away from finding your true power, your nature, who you are, to connect with the essence, the little girl, who church, who the pastor, who your mama and daddy never held truly space for. That's a good one right there. You ain't never seen the character of this person, but yet you can give so much fucking energy to something you never seen. It's just like having a physical father. The importance of that. And a lot of you were single mothers that have been looping through these things that were literally built, again, because of the false empowerment of what this patriarchal has represented. And as you see it be dismantled, I know a lot of you want to cling on it because that's all you know. And I know you're like, well, what? Well, where we gonna get food? Or where this gonna happen? Where's your faith? Where's your faith? Where's your power? Where's you taking back your power from the places and spaces and people that you know that have abused you? You thought that you just got abused in your home. Girl, these corporations and all these things have abused you emotionally. They not only they build you up, they offer you these things only to emotionally and physically to abandon you. So why are you surprised now when this shit is being removed by certain people? You better be grateful that it don't go on any longer. Because most people ain't ready mentally, and they already knew it was gonna come. Because once you step into your power, guess who they're gonna come running to? When they realize, like, wow, we didn't ever want you to find a solution. Because you were a solution all along. That's what makes you the miracle. You think the Most High, the Creator, has given you the power to bring forth a child? Men too, for you to create children, for you to even create life, to be trillions of cells. Eyes have not seen nor ears have heard. Whatever that verse is, and for y'all to have let so much externally or people to decide your fate, that's all this is about right now. Right now, people are letting other things decide their fate. It's your opportunity to walk into your destiny. Peace and blessings. Shalom.